So the word that I chose was, the name of the term is metacognition. The definition is the ability to facilitate learning by taking control and directing one's own thinking process. So basically your thought process, thinking about how you think. Basically, an example of what it looks like is being aware that you have a difficult time remembering other people's names. So just like me personally, I have a hard time remembering people's name right after I met them. So something that I would do is try to remind myself of people's names by connecting them to something familiar to what I already know. So like, for example, if I meet somebody named Jenny and I have a hard time remembering her name, I would connect an emotion to it. Oh, every time I see Jenny, she's so jolly. So the next time I see her, I'm like, oh, that's that jolly girl. What's her name? Oh, Jenny, jolly Jenny. So I'm thinking about my thought process and reminding myself to remember her name. So, yeah. How would I teach you to use it? I would teach it basically by, I think pair share is one example. It gives students time to collect thoughts. Thoughts have equal participation, and it makes sure each student contributes to the discussion. So by them being in groups and having time to collect their thoughts, they're kind of seeing how they think and discussing it with others, and they learn a little bit more about themselves because other people can point out other people can point out how they think, or maybe a thought process that they noticed from their peer, or they can point out to them anything that they notice in group work. So I picked this term because I feel that teaching metacognition can help students understand themselves and how they think. And it's important to learn because it's helpful when they need to make a decision, and it's pretty good for study habits. If they know how they think, they can connect it to when they study and maybe even get better grades. I don't know. So it helps students be more independent and think about decisions before they actually make them. How is this different? Wow. How is this different for a student with learning disabilities versus a student without learning disabilities? A student with learning disabilities, it helps them understand their way of processing information, and it may strengthen their thought processing skills. They will be exposed to new strategies to help them build their information processing. So I know that's a big thing with students who have learning disabilities, is the way they process information. So if they understand how they process information, now they can go on Google or maybe even talk with a school teacher or counselor and find ways and strategies to help them improve their thinking thought process, to help them improve their thought process and ways to build their thinking skills, the way they process information. Students without learning disabilities, it helps them, kind of like I said before, it helps them learn to slow down and think about decisions before they're acting on them, which is very helpful for when they become adults, because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of decisions they need to make, large decisions that they need to make, and they need to think about it before they just act. I'm dropping everything. Yeah.